Excuse me, let me get right here. Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome one, welcome all to another rousing episode of Urban Politics. I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music. This right here is Urban Politics, where politics lives. I want to thank all of you people out there who've been liking and subscribing. If you like what you see, please tell a friend, tell a family member to like and subscribe. Go on over to YouTube. Check me out. I got plenty of urban politics in the can, politics that you forgot about. Great commentary on them. Today, though, I want to jump right into it like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics for us to sink our teeth into. Let's start right off with the Democrats failing to give us voting rights. Tried to bring it to the table, but they came up empty, right? So the vote was 51-49. Manchin and Sinema in opposition. You could have guessed that. Bernie Sanders said it best. He said that they forced them to go 5 months, to go through 5 months of discussions, which have gotten them absolutely nowhere. So they basically wasted everybody's time because after all of that deliberation, all of that back and forth, neither of them are still supporting the legislation. So 50 Republicans united in their opposition to the measure, which is something to think. Back in the days, voting rights used to pass all the time, and usually it was 100% of everybody voting for it most often. But this time, not one Republican, not one, would go on record and support this bill. Sinema said that she would not vote to weaken or eliminate the filibuster. She said the filibuster plays an important role in protecting our democracy from the transitory passions of the majority, which is interesting because in the end of the day, this is a democracy, right? So that means that the majority of the people should have the say. It should be majority rule. But right there, she's just letting you know right there that she's not going to get rid of the filibuster because that's what the filibuster does. It protects our democracy from the transitory passions of the majority. Well, Miss Sinema, whether those passions are transitory or lasting or staying or whatever, the will of the people should be done. So no matter what you think about the passions of the people, that's what you're supposed to be preserving. When you're preserving democracy, you're preserving the will of the people, right? The biggest number of people. So Chuck Schumer, he ended up changing his vote right at the end to a nay. That way he can still bring the legislation to the floor at a later date. So that's telling right there, that's good news to know that the Democrats, they're not done yet. You know what I'm saying? They said, we still fighting the good fight. We're not done with this. And you know they're not done because you cannot have a democracy if you don't have voting rights, right? If we don't have voting rights, if we don't have one man, one woman, one vote, then we don't have a democracy. A lot of people say we don't have that right now. You have the right going on and on about rigged elections, even though Trump's Department of Justice said that this last election that he lost, that he got shellacked in by Joe Biden, was one of our most safest and secure elections to date. So that is what it is. Joe Biden, he said he's disappointed but not deterred. I wonder if Mr. Biden is watching the same reality that the rest of us are watching. You're disappointed but not deterred. And then he was doing a speech and he said something about how he did not think that Republicans would be so full-throated in their opposition to just everything he was trying to do. Has he not been paying attention? You know, you did 8 years. I almost said 4 years. You did 8 years as vice president for Barack Obama, and you saw every piece of legislation he tried to push over the goalpost, they pushed back. So why did you think anything would be different with you? Because your skin's a different color? Because your skin's the same color as theirs? I'm not going to lie. I too thought that would help a little. But in this 2022 that we live in, Republicans are hell-bent on keeping power and making sure that we beat them. They don't care about doing what's right for the American people or helping their constituents. No, we just want to win all the time. So that's what Republicans are about these days. So they better get hip. The John Lewis voting rights, the John Lewis Voting Rights Amendment Act would only restore the Justice Department's review of changes in election law in states with a history of discrimination. So this right here, this John Lewis Voting Rights Amendment, all it is just a return to what I think was either Article 4 or Article 5 of the Voting Rights Amendment, where what it was is southern states that are known for racism, whenever they wanted to change their voting laws or change the ways that people could vote, they'd have to kick it up to the federal government. Then the federal government would look at it and be like, yes, this is good. No, this is good. Yes, you can do this. No, you can't do this. And a lot of times I'm sure they kick stuff up there, get kicked back like, nah, you can't do that because this is blatantly racist, right? But as soon as they got rid of this, what happened? 33 out of 50 states all of a sudden came up with laws out the woodwork to stop minorities from voting. So it's almost like they were waiting on this, right? They were waiting to get rid of that legislation so that they could sneak these laws in there. The things that Democrats support, I think, are common sense things. It blows me away when Republicans are against these things, claiming that somehow this gives Democrats a leg up. Expanding early voting. I don't understand how that, expanding early voting, giving more access to mail-in ballots, that has been my favorite way to vote for years. I like to vote, at the house with a cup of coffee, in my robe while I'm watching the TV so I can voir dire the candidates and take my time and vote at my leisure. Who wants to stand in line all day? I go ahead and vote absentee, vote early. Why would you want to shrink that? If anything, we want to open that up. We want more people having that convenience so more people vote, right? You think. Curb large political contributions, aka dark money. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's like some of these guys on the right. What's his name? Shadle Addison or something. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's made of money. He gave Trump like $15 million when he was running for president. Some of these people on the right, I'm sure there's people on the left who do it too, but some of these people on the right, they got some of these big donors. They got deep pockets. And you got one guy writing a $15 million check. That's hard to contend with. You know what I'm saying? So they really need to get rid of that. When the Supreme Court, I forget whatever case that was, but they made it basically to where campaign contributions could be anonymous and be as much as you wanted them to be. That's when you started getting stuff like this. There used to be a cap on them. I think it was $2,500 or something like that. If I'm wrong, please give me some pushback in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Once the federal government got rid of that, then that's when you started seeing all this dark money. Isn't that an interesting term? Dark money coming into politics, but that's what it is because you got tons of cash and you may or may not even know who it's from. You just got all this cash, and now this candidate on the right or wherever they may be, they don't have to appeal to the masses or anything like that, do they? All they have to do is appeal to this big donor. But at the same time, now this big donor is in their pocket, or they're in their pocket, whichever way you want to say it, but they're kind of beholden to them, aren't they? Somebody gives you $15 million, you're probably going to listen to them. They're probably going to have your ear, at least for as long as it takes to write that check. Anyway, moving on. Another thing they want to do is, keeping in place same-day voter registration on election day. That's huge right there. Why would anybody be against that? Because you got to think of it. 9 times out of 10, a lot of people aren't necessarily paying attention to politics or the politics of what's going on. They got kids to raise. They got a job to go to. A lot of times you might get hit. Hey, did you know that election's coming up? Hey, did you know you only have a week to vote? Or did you know today is election day? And are you registered? And I don't know. I'm not sure. And then they run, to whatever outlet that they're registered to vote at. And they're like, well, you're not registered, but you can register right now and vote right now. That's a good thing. We want to keep that in place. We don't want people going all the way to these outlets and then finding out, you had to register, like last time you voted or a couple of weeks ago. Ergo, you just can't vote today. You just SOL. And that's messed up. So I don't know why anybody who cares about people having access to the franchise of voting wanting to get rid of same-day voter registration on election day. With that said, like I said, 33 states have enacted laws and put laws on the books that make it harder for minorities to vote. So there you go. As soon as they got rid of voting rights, as soon as they got rid of that legislation, what happened? 33 states. We only have 50 states. So out of 50 states, 33 of them could not wait to go back to the racist past. That is sad, but that is awfully telling of this country, right? And it obviously says right there that we need these amendments. We need these things to be the piece of the law. A lot of times people will say, why do we need quotas? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? Because unfortunately, if we don't have these things, we know that human beings won't do the right things. We know that 33 out of 50 states think it's okay to stop minorities from voting, or to make it harder for elderly to vote, or make it harder for young people to vote, or make it harder for anyone who's not voting the R Republican to vote. And that's a problem. That's the reason why we need the things that we have in place, like the Voting Rights Act. So Democrats, they need to get on that and get on it like yesterday. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk about your boy, my boy, you know what I'm saying, everybody's favorite little Mitch McConnell, that guy. There was a hashtag that, gained some popularity lately. Mitch, please. You know what I'm saying? And it came up with just cause. Why? Mitch McConnell. I was watching in real time when he said it. There was a hashtag started after Mitch McConnell said African Americans are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans. Yeah, you heard that right. Suggesting that African Americans are not American. So, of course, that was problematic. That was a gaffe. But I'm not sure that was a gaffe. I think he just said the quiet part out loud. That was what they said, a Freudian slip. That's what's going on in his head, and he just let it come out his mouth. But he definitely feels like that. African Americans don't have to worry about all these laws that are attacking their vote and keeping them from having access to the ballot. Because, the numbers are saying they're voting like any other, Americans. Or any, even though they are their own subsect who aren't American. The way that he said it, that's how that made that sound. But that's how he really feels. Like, these people, if they don't look like me, their votes just don't matter. And there it is. He said the quiet part out loud, so that TI is what a TI is. Think about this. In 1995, the Voting Rights Act passed with, they said 98-0. So that means every Republican who could vote yes for it did vote yes for it. Even Mitch McConnell called it a good piece of legislation. He said that out of his own mouth. That was in 1995. So what changed? Ask yourself that. What changed between 1995 and 2022? It was an orange dude by the name of Trump, and he gave all this validity to all this racism and angst in the Republican Party. And showed up. Don't think Mitch McConnell was blind to that, and obviously it wasn't lost on him, and it wasn't lost on Lindsey Graham either. Lindsey Graham is quite the character anyway. I mean, this guy went on and on and on about how horrible a person Trump was, and then as soon as he became president, he couldn't wait to get up under him, and become a Trump lackey and a Trump flunky. But it TI is what it TI is, but that's interesting, isn't it? How all these guys were in favor of voting rights, but now things have changed. What changed? Donald Trump changed things, They got him in office. I think that Republicans had probably went ahead and settled in their minds that we'll never win the executive again. But when Trump did it, then they said, oh, there is a way there. There's a way to the executive. There's a path there. And it's through this racist idiot. But somehow he's made the path. So we got to get behind him and follow that path to victory. And they are so mistaken. But that is what it is. And you know what I'm saying? Sometimes Mitch McConnell, he gets wrapped in that, up in that as well. But he's also politically savvy enough to know that this Trump wave, it's dying out. You know what I'm saying? So he's also, playing his position as it dies out, right? With that said, Ron DeSantis wants to create an election police force. Yeah. He's calling it an election integrity unit. And the governor of Georgia, he also wants to do it too. He wants an election integrity unit, which is pathetic, awfully interesting, because Ron DeSantis, he goes on record as saying this last election that we had that put Joe Biden into office, he even said that other states were looking at Florida because their election was so safe and so secure and so smooth and ran without a hiccup that other states were saying, why can't they be like Florida? He said that. But now he's going back and saying that he wants an election integrity committee. Now, when you talk to a lot of people on the right, one of their biggest things is, this is one of my conservative friends, his biggest thing to say to me is, and it looks like at least half or more of the American people think that this vote was rigged or that something's going on with this vote. The only reason that is because Fox News and ONN and some of these other stupid conservative outlets have been telling them that since Joe Biden became president. So don't act like that just came from nowhere. It ain't like people just woke up one day and said, votes are rigged, elections are rigged. No, Trump gave them that. The same way he gave people fake news and some of these other garbage terms you hear all the time. So that is what it is, man. But don't act like people just woke up one day and were like, oh, these elections are rigged. They're all rigged. No, he gave you that. and stop running around talking about how half of Americans feel that way. Half of Americans feel that way because half of Americans are watching Fox News, and Sean Hannity and some of these other buffoons have told them to feel that way, have told them that our voting process is rigged, which is garbage. I guess it's rigged whenever a Republican doesn't win, right? That TI is what a TI is, but it's sad, it's pathetic, and people need to get on that. You know what I'm saying? Get hip to the game here. You know what's going on. Mitch McConnell knows what's going on. He wants to act like African Americans have nothing to fear and there's much ado about nothing, but you know what's up with this. 33 out of 50 states enact new laws to stop minorities from voting. They got scared. You know what I'm saying? When their boy Trump won, they thought that they would never win the executive again. And then when they lost it to Joe Biden, they said, how can we stop this from happening? How can we stop losing elections forever? And now they found a way to do it. Just make sure that the electorates at the state level just kick out whoever they don't like, whoever that person is. And whoever they want, that's the person who they put in the mix. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Joseph Robinette Biden. And let's talk about his first year in office. It hasn't been the greatest. It has not been the greatest. A CBS poll was taken, said 25% of Americans think that America is moving in the wrong direction. That's not good. 33% is Joe Biden's approval rating right now, which is the lowest approval rating for any president in history, including Donald Trump. So that's pretty doggone bad. 38% approve of his handling of the economy, right? Only 38%. That's not a lot. Say that he's doing a good job on the economy when wages are up, we avoided a recession, and stocks just had like their best year since 1995. So all these pluses for the economy, yet still only 38% of people think that he knows what he's doing when it comes to the economy. Joe Biden has no following. And that just is what it is, right? Trump has a following. A following is the bomb, right? Because when you got a following, they love you regardless. You know, you could shoot somebody. You could have some rape accusations coming to you. You could have anything happen. These people are on your team. It is your following. It is your base. They're going nowhere. Trump has that. You see these people running around in their Make America Great hats again, and then they paint these pictures of Trump looking like Rambo. And I mean, some of these people, he's had schemes where he was robbing them when they were donating to him or whatever. They don't care. Trump's fans are like, I've said it in past shows, I'll say it again, they're like an abusive girlfriend. They're not going anywhere. The more he beats them, the more he hurts them, the more he takes advantage of them, the more they love him, right? And as an artist, you know, as a singer or a dancer or an actor, you'll give your left arm to have that. You give your left arm to have a bass that just rides with you into the dirt. These people will ride with you right off a cliff. Trump has that. Biden doesn't. Biden was a great alternative, you know? I said that on the show, right? Even at Biden's worst day, he's better than Trump. He's a better man than Trump. He's a better politician than Trump, even on his worst day. But at the same time, people are not all up his like they are up Trump's, you know, for whatever reason, right? You know what I'm saying? And you hear a whole laundry list of reasons why people like Trump. I think a lot of them are just turned on by the racism, no matter what they say, but whatever. If they claim it's his personality, it's a cult of personality. I don't see much personality there, but a TI is what a TI is. He has these people love and support, and when you have people down for you like that, that's going to help, you know, and you don't have to try so hard. That's why Trump doesn't try hard. He doesn't have to try hard. These people are in love with him, and the love is going nowhere, right? And Joe Biden just doesn't have that. Now, a piece of what's also killing Joe Biden is bad messaging to no messaging at all. You know, he just doesn't have some of the surrogates that Trump has. Trump had a Giuliani. That guy traveled the world perpetuating the big lie and turning over every rock that he could, looking for some evidence for Trump, right? You know what I'm saying? Andrew McCarthy, you know what I'm saying? Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. Some of these people on Trump's team so tough. They want it so tough, and Joe Biden doesn't have surrogates like that. There are good Democrats out there, who will speak the praises, the things that he's done and that administration has done as of late. But the thing is, he does not have the people who have just the fervent love or whatever for him like Trump, and that's cultish. Cult of personality, cult of don't drink the Kool-Aid and kill yourself cult. But it is what it is. He has that. And Biden doesn't have that. So Biden really, he needs better surrogates. I don't know what you do about that. I guess you got to find some Democrats who are a little more articulate, are not afraid to go out here and sing the praises of some of the good things that Democrats have done, some of the good things that Joe Biden has done, right? So I'm going to go ahead and quote one of my most favorite people in political circles, Nina Turner, and she said it best. What Biden needs to do is gas up the jet and cancel student loan debt. That's right. Gas up the jet and cancel student loan debt. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to go, to the Secret Service guys, say, hey, look, boys, we're going on the road. Gas up Air Force One. And I'm going around and I'm going to talk to the American people. The president has something, and I've always loved this term. They talk about it in politics all the time. The president has what they call the bully pulpit. The bully pulpit. That means that he is the president. So any governor that he calls in this great America, United States of America, even if he called my governor, Governor DeWine, who is a Republican, who I just saw a commercial for earlier this morning or maybe yesterday, where he was taking some jabs at Biden, talking about how he's a horrible president, and then, of course, in the end, added the caveat how I'm the best man for the job, Republican Mike DeWine. Even that guy, if Joe Biden called him tonight and said, me and Kamala, we want to come to Columbus, Ohio, and we want to talk about voting rights. We're going to tell people why they need to vote for Democrats and why we're doing a good job and stuff like that. You know what he would say? The Republican governor who had just had a commercial where he was basically taking shots at Joe Biden, you know what he would say? Yes, sir, Mr. President. Please let me know what day you're coming through, Mr. President, so I can get the motorcade and the police ready. Because he's the president of these United States. He has the bully pulpit. There is not no governor or any state, anything that's going to tell him no. He's the president of these United States. So with that said, I would say, hey, Mr. Joseph Robinette Biden, use the bully pulpit. That's what it's called that for a reason. It's the bully pulpit. These people may not want you to come through. You go through anyway. You go and sing the praises of what your party has done, of what you've done for them. What have you done for me lately? Well, let me tell you. You're about to get some internet. Thank you, Mr. Biden. But you got to go out here and tell people. If you don't go out here and tell people, they don't know. And then it's all for naught. You don't get the credit. And that's the thing. Democrats are really not good at taking credit for some of the good stuff that they do. Obama had that problem. As you see, Joseph Biden has that problem. They always have that problem. But don't be afraid. And Republicans, they take way too much credit for little things that they do, to where Democrats that do huge things, you know what I'm saying, like provide medical care for everybody, Obamacare, but won't want to go yell it from the rafters or yell it from the rooftops or talk about it over and over again. And that's what you have to do, because there's some short attention spans in this country. So you have to keep reminding people why they voted for you, reminding people of the good things that you and your party have done for them. So gas up the jet, like Ms. Turner said, and cancel student loan debt. Cancel student loan debt, that speaks for itself. Everybody already knows what's good with that. I got student loan debt. You got student loan debt. They said with the swipe of a pen, he could cancel it. Do it, Biden. Come on. You already know, and that's votes in the bank. A lot of people will say, that ain't the way that you get votes. Hey, guess what? Come on now. We just talked about how the other side is playing some dirty pool. Democrats, you need to get hip. Start doing what it takes to get votes around here, okay? Start doing what you got to do to pass voting rights. You know what's good. And you already know. We already had one coup that was unsuccessful because these guys weren't smart enough to pull it off. They've learned from their mistakes. This next one, they're going to pull off. So Democrats, where you at? Joe Biden, where you at? With that said, let me move along. Let me go ahead. Before I get out of here, taking up enough of your time, I want to talk about a couple of IPAs. I've been sleeping on my IPAs of the week. So this week, I got two. That's right, count them, 2 IPAs I'm going to come at you with. My first one is a delicious IPA. I want you to excuse the can. It's a little dented up because, what can I say, the last couple of nights was mad real. And This and a few other IPAs got the business. But this right here, this is an Indian Pale Ale that's from Columbus Brewing Company, which is obviously right here in Columbus. And it's delicious. The alcohol content is 6.3% alcohol. And like we said, you know, your average beer is 5% alcohol, maybe 5.5%. 6.3. This is really good. A whole lot of bang for your buck. As you can see, it's even got the hops on it right there to let you know how they're getting down. It's extremely hoppy, extremely full-bodied. And that IPA, a lot of cats will ask me all the time. You know, I tell them, you know, I like IPAs. They're like, you know, what the heck does that stand for? What does that mean? What's an IPA? Indian Pale Ale. That's what that is. Indian Pale Ale. Or if you need to remember, just remember, really good beer. You know, and Ohio, in particular, is a good place for beers and craft beers and stuff like that. So we got a lot of great IPAs out there. I mean, some of this stuff you can get at Kroger's. Now, sometimes I'll go to like special beer houses and stuff like that, or liquor stores to get some of these IPAs. But a lot of them are at Kroger's or whatever. And like I said, because of the area, you know, and when I say the area, I'm talking about Ohio in general. You'll get some really good IPAs. The second IPA that I want to talk about is special. It has a little story with it too. We're going to read that here so we get to know this IPA a little better. But this is called a Delicious IPA. And it's from the Stone Brewery. You know, and I've reviewed some of their other IPAs and other beers on here too. They really are good. These guys make a great beer. It says so delicious. It's 7.7% alcohol by volume. So that's a strong beer right there. You probably only need one of these and you're going to set it off. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to need much more than this one. But you know what I'm saying? It's a great beer. The story is Edward Seas was born at an early age in Northern California. Unsatisfied with becoming a 20th degree black belt in Kung Fu, mastering all of the languages in the world, his quest for artistic inspiration and good beer brought him to the North Park neighborhood in San Diego. His art can be spotted at local bars and pop-up shops around the neighborhood. He now resides in a mansion surrounded by beautiful models, flamingos, and a gargoyle butler. True story. Edward Seas. That's all on there. It says true story. So this is a fun little beer right here, man. And I don't know if that's the guy who invented this beer or if that was just a little neat story they wanted to tell. But yeah, this Delicious IPA by Stone. It goes hard. 7.7% alcohol. It's delicious. So if you got a little bit of money in your pocket, you might want to check out that IPA. Have yourself a good night. Hey, what can I say? That TI is what a TI is. That's my time, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for being here with me. Remember, this is Urban Politics, where politics lives. And as always, see you around like a donut.